this is me, Lily. I am 14 and I live in France. Meet my mom, Ninon, my dad, Thomas, and my brothers, Ozzie, 10, and Ilo, 6. Together, we are traveling around the world and we are happy to share our adventure with you.
Hello, friends! It's time for us to leave Vietnam and go to Bali, or more precisely to Lovina, a coastal town a bit off the tourist track, which is located between the sea and the mountains. Here life is slow. It is very pleasant to start each day with a swim. After that, we feel energized to explore the surroundings or do some food shopping. What struck me immediately in this new country was the contrast between buildings and nature. With the exception of the beautiful Balinese sculptures that adorn the walls and doors, there is a lot of grey concrete infrastructure that has been damaged by time. It's not very aesthetic, and it stands out in the middle of the bright, lush and beautiful nature. I prefer the traditional houses that are still there, almost a century after their construction, but unfortunately very rare. Even if they are better adapted to the climate and much more ecological, because they are entirely built with bamboo, a solid and sustainable wood. Look at this beautiful traditional Balinese house located in Pedawa, one of the ancient villages commonly known as Desa Bali Aga in Bali. Everything is built from bamboo, the roof, the wall and furniture. It is very hot here, a very humid and stifling tropical heat that is barely bearable for us. It is difficult to walk around in the middle of the day and life is slow and rather static. Even if there are never really cold days or even hours, it is more pleasant to go out just after sunrise or before sunset. Then you can swim in the sea, which seems always warm and quiet in Lovina. Find lava pebbles on the volcanic sandy beaches. If you prefer a green scenery, you may go for a walk in the mountains, where the temperatures drop and the rain is more present. Unfortunately, there are a lot of scooters and vehicles here too, which increases the air pollution enormously. We were often the only ones walking, and people were looking at us wondering if we were crazy. The pavements are not safe, I must admit. What I really enjoyed here was exploring the surrounding flora, seeing waterfalls for the first time in my life. I loved observing the unique fauna of this country, like this Asian monitor lizard who'll get much bigger. Beware, it bites. But what particularly amused me was the very unusual and strident song of the cicadas. It sounds like a drilling machine, isn't it? Finally, I will always remember our last visit in a Balinese coffee plantation located in the mountain, a beautiful place. Look at these small hobbit houses hidden in the garden. We would have loved settling there to live, wouldn't you?
What makes Bali so unique is its people. Even though they are very little, they are extremely resilient and they offered us their smiles. We were very well welcomed and learned a lot about Balinese culture. You have to understand that the Balinese economy is based on tourism, and in a way it's a bad thing. The pandemic has been devastating for the country. Many businesses had to close and many people have lost their jobs. In order to survive, the Balinese often do several jobs. Fishermen take tourists on their boats, the many street stalls offer drinks, food, scooters for rent or tourist rides, the warungs, the local restaurants, are open all day long. The working hours at the market are mind-boggling, from early morning until 10 p.m. You can also meet some artists, musicians, painters and sculptors who accompany this culture rich in folklore. If northern Indonesia is Muslim, Bali practices a unique form of Hinduism, which represents a distinct form of Hindu worship, incorporating a local animism, ancestor worship or Pitru Paksha, and reverence for Buddhist saints or Bodhisattva. All these statues are impressive and fascinating. Bali is known as the island of the gods, and still to this day, the Balinese people practice their daily rituals as they have for hundreds of years. It is called Tanong Sari. Tanong Sari are usually based in a woven bamboo container and include rice, flowers, incense, sweets, fruits, spices. This is an offering to the gods as a gesture of gratitude. The philosophy of the offering is self-sacrifice, because it takes time and effort to prepare daily. There are a few temples to discover on the island, such as the well-known Ulundanu, a famous old Hindu lake temple that sits on the waters of scenic Lake Beratan, in Bedugul, North Bali. This 12-story pagoda was built by the Balinese king of Mengwi in 1633. And the lake it sits on is actually a crater lake from an old volcano. Lake Beratan is also the second biggest lake in Bali, after Lake Batur in Kintamani. We were lucky enough to be invited to a school. Here, the school has very few resources, teachers and rooms. The students share a day. Some go in the morning and others in the afternoon. What I liked was their desire to share a moment, a photo with us. What saddened me was the lack of books for all. I will never forget being invited to dance Zumba with the staff at the immigration offices. A great way to start the day. And a visit to Rumah Tua, an ancient bamboo house in Pedawa, which has retained its authenticity and where old traditions and practices are still passed on. If I am not mistaken, that man is making toothpaste the old way. You can also see a traditional Balinese kitchen called paon, where food is prepared and cooked using wooden fire and traditional kitchen utensils.
Here you have the kitchen, and over here is the place where the children used to sleep.
Eating in Bali was a bit complicated for us. All our usual food references didn't exist here. The supermarkets offered products that didn't suit us, and eating out every day didn't fit into our small family budget.
We found the culinary culture less rich than in Thailand and Vietnam. This can certainly be explained by a less important population movement. A great number of Balinese were born where they live and have never left. But cooking is both an art and a tradition that is enriched by flavors from here and elsewhere.
What we enjoyed most was the delicious fresh fruit juice, the chicken satay with peanut sauce, the lumpia, a kind of fried spring roll, the mahi-mahi, a local fish. The raw vegetables sometimes made us sick. They have to be cleaned, but as it is not recommended to drink tap water, it is not always easy.
Our main food became that of all Balinese. Rice, fried rice or steamed rice in banana leaves with local curries or fresh tempeh and tofu sold at the market. And what about desserts, you may ask? These are vegan desserts made in Bali with sticky rice and pandan. Let's taste them.
As you can see, desserts based on pandan, a tropical herbaceous plant with a uniquely sweet aroma, were not a big hit with us. We preferred these Balinese cakes, made with rice flour and coconut milk, and the pisang goreng, or banana fritters.
But as always, our favorite was fruit, found at the market or in the surrounding nature. Coconut, 10 kinds of bananas to cook or eat raw, mango, jackfruit, durian, and a passion fruit that you pick up with a pole and which is quite special to eat, but absolutely delicious. Bali is one of the most productive agricultural regions on the planet. Its rice fields are famous, and the coffee called kopi luwak is the most expensive coffee on earth.
But it's time to get back on the road, to get on our bike, or rather, to face torrents of mud, to wait for a plane that will take us far away from all our new Balinese friends. Far away from this luxuriant nature towards a very different landscape. See you soon!